If your paycheck was less by $1.60 tomorrow, how would your life change? If your paycheck was more by $1.60, how would your life change on a daily basis? Just think about that, okay? So Abu Darda radiallahu anh was a Sahabi that was sitting down with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when an orphan approached the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, Ya Rasulullah, I have this orchard. I have these palm trees, and my orchard touches the orchard of my neighbor. And between my orchard and my neighbor's is one single tree. I want to remove this tree so I can build a wall and protect my property. Now the problem that I'm having, the orphan says to the Prophet ﷺ, is that my neighbor is not selling me this tree. He won't give it to me for free. He's not letting me buy it, so I can't protect my property. I cannot protect my property. Now, one thing I want to highlight is this is not a drastic situation. It's not something where the orphan's life is in danger. He was just at unease. He was just trying to protect his property. So the Prophet ﷺ tells him to bring your neighbor to me. Let me talk to him, perhaps. Bring your neighbor, let me talk to him about this property. Now think about this. As a Muslim, if the Prophet ﷺ called you and asked something of you, most of us would say that we would not deny Rasulullah ﷺ. So this neighbor comes, the orphan's neighbor comes to the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet says, please give this orphan the tree. He says, no, I can't. He says, I will buy it off of you, please give it. He says, no. The Prophet ﷺ tells him, if you give him this tree, I will give you a similar tree in Jannah. I will guarantee you a tree in paradise if you give this one tree to the orphan. Dear brothers and sisters, imagine the Prophet ﷺ promises you Jannah. Who would say no to that? This person still says, no, I will not do it. So he walks away, and the Prophet ﷺ says, if you give someone Jannah and they walk away from it, what more can you offer? What more can you say to a person when you say, I will give you Jannah, and they say, I don't want it? Abu Darda, who the Sahabi that the story is about, he sees this whole interaction. He goes up behind this man, and he tells this person, listen, do you know who I am? He says, of course, you're Abu Darda. He says, do you know my father and the property that we own? The person says, of course, your father has an orchard of 500 trees, some scholars say. Abu Darda says, Wallahi, you can have that whole orchard and everything inside of it just for that one tree. I will give you everything that I own if you give that one tree for this orphan that the Prophet ﷺ requested. And the guy says, of course, I will do that deal in a heartbeat. It's like someone saying, take my bicycle and I will give you a Ferrari instead. Who is saying no to that deal? So Abu Darda walks back to the Prophet ﷺ and he says, Ya Rasulullah, is that tree still available for me in Jannah? And the Prophet says, of course, ﷺ. Dear brothers and sisters, this was their iman. Even though you can't see Jannah, but the Prophet ﷺ promised it. And for that, Abu Darda said, everything I own and have to my name is not as important as the objective of attaining Jannah. Now I asked you all to think about that $1.60. How much would that impact your life if your paycheck was less by $1.60 a day, dear brothers and sisters? For us, maybe we don't have that coffee. Maybe we take a smaller portion of lunch. That's all the impact. We're not going to lose our house or our car. For an orphan, you will make the whole world of a difference. A helping hand for $600 a year allows you to take care of every single need of an orphan, from food, clothing, and shelter. That's $1.60 a day, dear brothers and sisters. The Prophet ﷺ said, Ana wa kafir al-yatim fil jannati hakada, and just look at my fingers. Just look at my two fingers. Do you guys see any gap in my fingers? This is how the Prophet ﷺ said, the person who takes care of an orphan and me, this is how close we will be in Jannah. Are we talking about normal paradise or the best of paradise, where the Prophet ﷺ is going to be? For $1.60 a day, dear brothers and sisters. So now, I need the Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu of this community to sponsor, inshallah, 5 orphans for $3,000 a year, $250 a month, that's less than your average car payment. For less than $8 a day, can I get the first hand to sponsor those 5 orphans? Who wants to be the Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu of this community? Less than $8